Hey everybody, this is TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys, Cyberpunk 2077V, and Johnny Silverhand. So I'm pretty late to these reviews because these came out all the way back in early to mid-March this year. I wanted to review these figures though because the Takamura figure is coming in from Amazon this week, so I wanted to review these before I reviewed that figure. I am not going to get the new Johnny Silverhand just yet because that's pretty much the same figure just with some different accessories. Later on down the line I'm hoping to get him though because I do want those accessories. I'm very excited for this game. I've been anticipating this game for many years now. I was dreading though when McFarlane Toys announced the license because I really did not like their stuff when they announced this license. I was very worried. I wish NECA got the license. But Todd has proved me wrong. The 2020 has been a great year for McFarlane Toys, not just for their video game stuff, but with their DC license as well. So I'm very happy to have figures. I really want to see more Cyberpunk figures in the future. Let's go ahead and talk about the packaging for both these figures. It's really well done. The yellow coloring really pops out throughout the whole packaging. It's just some of my favorite packaging I've seen in a very long time for domestic figures. You can see both images, or just both figures here, with the contents that they come with. They both have like dirty city walls for backdrops, but they're different for both of the characters. There's like different posters for one and different posters for the other one. You can see towards the bottom it says Cyberpunk 2077. It's kind of like shiny, almost foil-like lettering, and it says 14 plus, not a toy, and it says the characters' names. So you have V and Johnny Silverhand. On the side here, there's not much going on. It's just a black backdrop that has the lettering Cyberpunk 2077, but it's still pretty cool looking. And then we look on the other side, it says McFarlane Toys, as well as the characters' names that are going to be there, and where it says CD Projekt Red. There's really nothing much going on with the top. It's just a window box, so it lets the light in. It also says McFarlane Toys on that tab. But we look towards the back of the packaging, and again, it says McFarlane Toys on that tab. It says Cyberpunk 2077, 7-inch action figures. Whatever figure you get, it's going to say also available for the other character. It says 22 moving parts, CD Projekt Red towards the bottom left, McFarlane Toys social media accounts towards the bottom right. And when we look at the bottom, there's not much going on here, but here are the barcodes if you need them. Let's go ahead and get these figures out of the packaging. So here are both figures out of the packaging, and these figures are awesome. At first glance, some collectors are probably going to skip out on these just because they're probably not familiar with the property and they may not look the greatest. But if you are very excited, like I am, for the game and need some Cyberpunk collectibles, these are going to be a perfect option for you. They're not without their flaws, though, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I'm going to start with V. We're going to take a look at his accessories and then the figure, and then we'll go to Johnny with his accessories and then the figure. So McFarlane Toys likes to do this thing where they pretty much glue the figure stand into the backdrop, and I really don't want to ruin the backdrop because I have to rip it all out, and it's just not going to be worth it. Sorry, so you're not going to really get a good look at the figure stand, but it's just this black circular stand that says Cyberpunk 2077 and the characters' names on there. It's not the most special thing in the world, but it's not horrible. What is pretty cool are the weapons that he comes with. These things are awesome. I have to look up the name of a lot of these, so yeah, bear with me. It's the Kang G58DN Smart Submachine Gun. I probably said that completely wrong. Pretty much in the gameplay review, I think for 2018. This is a smart submachine gun with tracking bullets. This thing looks freaking amazing. There's so much paint applications going on here. There's some nice black wash going on in the silver and the red. You see there's some silver dry brushing going on in the black a little bit. They have some silver dry brushing to make it look scratched in certain areas. It looks slightly used, and it just looks really well done. I'm very happy with the sculpting. This is pretty on par with like NECA's sculpting. This is just a very cool looking piece. One thing that's cool that we're getting with a freaking $25 figure that you usually only see with Hot Toys and Mezcos is a removable magazine. Now, it doesn't have a painted bullet, and that's really the only thing bad about it, honestly. It shouldn't be that much of a turnoff. This thing is awesome. Like, the fact that you can pretty much get an additional accessory out of this, you'll have to angle it like this, and then insert it and push it in. That is just freaking cool. More companies need to do that. Not even NECA does that. Of course, this is a pretty big weapon, a pretty big magazine, so I can see why they did that. And I also don't really know the name of this weapon, and it is called This is a Militech weapon. It's the M10F, sorry, M10AF Lexington. Once the game comes out, I'm sure I'll know the actual, names better. Pretty much this is the pistol that we see a lot of the times in the trailers. It's not as good with the paint as the submachine gun, but this is still pretty nice with the silver in the chamber, silver going around the barrel. The black is really nicely painted. I think it might be molded in black, but it still looks really nice. The details are there. It just looks really cool. Last but not least, we get this katana. And this is the accessory I think I might not like the most. It's just, I can't really blame McFarlane Toys because they probably don't have that much access to models of the weapons yet. But it just looks kind of silly to me. It's just kind of molded in this pink plastic. They have these ridges that are sculpted throughout here to kind of make it look better. But again, I don't really blame McFarlane Toys for this. It still looks fine. It's just not the greatest. So here's a 360 look at V. This thing is just so cool. You're looking at all these nice details on here and nice paint apps. And again, I think McFarlane Toys did a surprisingly good job for what they could have done. It could have been like their Call of Duty figures, which I really don't like because they're just kind of very subpar. This thing is just awesome. I really like the head sculpt. This is the default male V, I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping we get different versions of V with different ethnicities. Hopefully different clothing too. Different genders. That would be cool. But right now we just have this one version. This is just really nicely done. So they painted the facial hair, which doesn't look the greatest, but it doesn't look horrible either. You can see his actual sculpted lines where his cybernetic implants are in the head and the face there. Looking really cool. It looks like it almost has like a digital printing to it, kind of like what Marvel Legends does with their MCU figures. So it may look a little glossy in the face, but it still looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's a pretty blank expression. It could have maybe used a different head that had looked a little angrier, had a different expression, but that's okay. I couldn't notice until now, but I think there's an earring on the left ear, so that's pretty cool. There's a little bit of silver right there. The hair is also nicely sculpted. They kind of gave him this fade in certain areas. They're a little bit of a brown wash. More like dry brushing going on here to give it a little bit of different tones. So that's pretty cool. The neck, for some reason, the skin tone is not matching up with the neck on camera, with the face and the neck. In person, it's not that bad. This is kind of a basic black shirt we have underneath, so that's not too bad. This is a softer plastic that doesn't really get in the way of articulation, which is cool. This is supposed to be LED lights, I'm pretty sure, so they have it to where it's like a bright blue with a little bit of dark blue in there to kind of give it some accents, so that's kind of cool. I don't know what this says. It says something Jack. I have no idea. I'm blanking on what it says right now. Cryptic something, I have no idea. But there's some nice lettering there. We have some nice patches that are painted on here, which has a little bit of some messy paint just because the brown is still there, but it's not too bad. The wrinkles are fantastic. This is some great sculpting, and it kind of looks like they have a little bit of some like gray dry brushing in the wrinkles. This is also really cool. The samurai printing, the samurai logo here on the back is really awesome. It says samurai. I don't know what's up with this shoulder here, but that's done pretty well. It's pretty accurate to what we see him wear. These shoulder pieces are also really sick. Nicely sculpted. We have this nice patch that's sculpted on here. There's even some details in the elbow there, and even in the actual joints, as you can see. So some of the skin tone again is not matching up with this joint and the forearm and the hands, but it's not horrible. Probably could have come with some extra fists. That would have been cool. We'll go towards the lower torso here. I don't know if there's anything I missed. The zipper, I guess. That's pretty cool. Look towards the lower torso. The pants are nicely sculpted. There's lots of wrinkles. They slightly sculpted some pockets in there. There's definitely pockets sculpted towards the back here. That's pretty cool. The legs have some great sculpting with the wrinkles towards the knees mostly. When we get to the calves, there's even a lot more sculpting when we get towards the boots. It's just kind of molded in this gray, though. There's not really much paint going on with the pants, but the shoes are awesome. These are nice high tops. I guess that's what you'd call them. They look really cool. There's some gray towards the bottom here. So, man, these are just really nicely sculpted. Now, I'll talk about articulation in a second. You may be thinking, wow, these feet are going to be very hindered when it comes to articulation. They actually aren't. I kind of wish that we would get more characters with big sneakers the way that McFarlane Toys does it. But let's go ahead and talk about articulation. So I want to say there is some separate articulation in the neck. It would be ever so slightly. It's mostly a swivel here at the head. It's mostly on this ball peg. The up is okay. It's not the greatest up. The down is pretty good, though. The side to side. I think I saw the neck move, so I think there's a little bit of articulation, but there's not a lot, though. The swivel is just fine. The tilt is also pretty good. These actually have butterfly joints. They're not the strongest, though. Do they have butterfly joints? Yeah, so they're not the strongest, but they are there. Arms could go all the way around. They do go in and out. So instead of bicep swivel, they actually did this really well to where it doesn't really break up the sculpt. It swivels up here. It still looks like it's part of the jacket, so they didn't have to break it here. And we do have double jointed elbows that kind of get hindered by the sculpt, but it's still pretty good. It's kind of like this SH Figure Art style wrist that we have, which it swivels here, it hinges, and then it swivels at the actual hand, so you can get some different dynamic posing out of that. We do have a waist swivel, so it's a ball joint here, forward and back, and side to side isn't the greatest. That's how much forward it can go. I have to back out a little bit. And the back is okay, but it also has that same ball joint at the actual waist. So it gets a little bit better articulation because there's two different ball joints. So now with the legs, lots of people have problems with the legs on certain characters, so the legs don't really want to go out that far. I'm not going to be doing the craziest of kicks with this guy. The back is non-existent. In and out. There is a tiny bit of thigh swivel. That's one thing people have a problem with, is McFarlane Toys does not want to commit to the thigh swivel because I think they said that it breaks up the sculpt to where they don't like it, which is kind of malarkey. It's a little bit in there, but it's not very strong. The sculpt really gets in the way. We do have double jointed knees. There is a swivel here at the foot, at the ankle, so it bends upward, downward. It still has a rocker, so you actually get some pretty decent pivot, and that swivel assists with the pivot as well. It's kind of hard to see in there, but that's slightly what the joint's going to look like. And we actually have toe articulation. We don't get that with figures that aren't from freaking Toy Biz, or, you know, usually we get that with, like, imports figures, so that's pretty neat. Overall, pretty decent articulation. So we also get a figure stand with Johnny Silverhand I'm not going to take out. It's going to say his name on the figure stand, but we also get this awesome guitar. There's so much great detail going on here. The strings are nicely sculpted and painted on here. Man, this is just friggin' awesome. The way that they've just put the stickers around here. All the printing is really clean. All these notches. Nice silver. The difference is there's a little bit of like matte black, some shiny black going on. There's a little bit of some like khaki green. The back is pretty plain, but that's to be expected. This strap does come off, and it is a separate piece. It says Samurai right there. They actually did slightly sculpt the Samurai logo in there. It's not the cleanest, but I mean, it says, the Samurai logo right here where the red is. The wording of Samurai is super clean, and the paint is actually pretty good too. It looks kind of like this like fabric type of strap. It's really nicely done. It's a soft plastic. It's got holes in both sides, so you just insert it like so. This thing is just freaking awesome. It also comes with a rocker hand. This thing was very hard to take out of the packaging. I don't know why they packed it like that, but when you take it out of the packaging, you're going to want to be careful so that way you don't rip the fingers off. The fingers will be a little bit warped. That's nothing that hot air or, you know, hot water can fix. So you can, get a hair dryer and fix that is what I was trying to say. Sculpting's pretty cool. You'll get to see what it looks like later. There's a little bit of a black wash in some areas, a little bit of some dry brushing, I want to say. This thing is just a really nice metallic hand. Last but not least, we get a bottle of alcohol. And, yeah, so in case you needed to know that this wasn't for kids. This could work for 6 and 7 inch figures just because, different size alcohol bottles would work. It's just nice. Was it like a brownish, almost orange type of bottle? It still looks really nice. It's just mostly in a translucent plastic here. Can't actually take the top off, but you can still hold it rather decently in the right hand. So out of both characters, I think everybody's going to pick up Johnny the most. I don't really blame them. I think V is still a pretty good figure, though. I'm not doing any of your breathtaking jokes. They've been done to death, so sorry to be a party pooper. But yeah, man, this thing is just awesome. I'm going to zoom in really quick because this thing captures the likeness of Keanu very well. I want to say the only other company would probably do a good job, if not better, is NECA. And I don't have the Mafex one on me right now. It's somewhere in my room. I can't find it for some reason. But even that one kind of pales in comparison with this one. This is, again, a $25 figure and doing almost a better job than Mafex. Now, the glasses kind of get in the way, but, I mean, that looks like Keanu. Facial hair, I think they did the same thing with V on this guy. It's just kind of painted on here, so it doesn't look the cleanest, but they have some nice details and a little bit of paint applications going on in the hair. This nice long wavy hair. Looks really well done. The sculpting overall is just very clean. The glasses also came out pretty nice with some silver and some translucent red. If I get the other Johnny, I think I'll take the glasses off on that one. Now, in the hair, it's slightly sculpted to fit the notches. I believe these are glued in, so I would have to figure that out. Because that hair really gets in the way. So with this vest here, this is a bulletproof vest. That's interesting to talk about. This is a completely soft rubber piece. So, you still get some of the detail in there. It may not look as good as if it was actually, sculpted plastic. But what they're trying to go for is the articulation, which I'll show off in a little bit. There's the samurai logo on there where it says samurai. It's really nicely printed and painted on there. It's very cool. Some of the black is bleeding onto, or like the skin tone's bleeding onto the black just a little bit, but you really gotta look close to see it. The dog tags are also, I wish that those were a separate accessory. They're just kind of painted on there very basically and molded on there. They're not super special. Those stickers right there look really cool, man. There's lots of great details. Arms can be kind of basic. There's not much muscle going on here. I think that's supposed to be kind of like that. He does have some tattoos. I have no idea what some of these are supposed to be, but they're printed on here very nicely, even though the joint does kind of get in the way. There's another one on the forearm. We have this nice little wrist. I don't know if that's supposed to be a wristband or part of his tattoo, but get a nice snake that is actually painted into the hand here. That's really cool. Nice silver rings that could use some better sculpting and paint, but still, they made forth the effort. Articulation wise, this arm is kind of disappointing, but detail wise, it's freaking phenomenal. Like, look at just a lot of details going on here, man. There's some nice red towards the top there, on the back too. The silver has this nice black lining going on in there with some nice dry brushing. It's just very nicely done. Nice silver metallic going on, a little bit of red throughout there. Actually, lots of red. This hand is okay. I do wish he came with an extra hand that was more relaxed. I guess that's why we have the new one coming out. Todd really likes to do things where he releases the same figure over and over again. So that's kind of annoying, but still looking really awesome. I dig the arm. Again, detail-wise, it's awesome. The belt looks cool. It's almost like there's some bullets. I think that's what it's going for. It's like this type of like bullet detail in the belt there. It's really well done. These nice brown, or almost maroon pants with some black wash going on in there. These are sick. The detailing is just phenomenal. With the way that the paint, the wash, and the wrinkles come together, it's just really cool. That's what the sides look like. And then we have the cuffs of the pants, which are pretty nice and wrinkled. This joint kind of sticks out just a little bit, so that's a little bothersome. They do have some detailing going on in the back of the joint here. That's what the back of the feet look like. And these boots are really cool. There's some silver going on where the laces are. Not really laces at that point. It's just mostly some straps going on there. Nice pointed toes. Man, these things are awesome. So yeah. Some areas of the articulation I think are a little bit lackluster compared to V. I don't think there's any neck articulation, but there is a head swivel. The head wants to go up that far because the hair gets in the way. It can go down slightly better. Side to side, a little bit of a neck tilt. Again, the hair kind of gets in the way of some areas. We do have the, what is this? We have the butterfly joint that actually works better than the V figure. Arms go all the way around. They go in and out. Upper arm swivel. Is there an upper arm swivel? Yeah, there is. Double jointed elbows. Hinge at the wrist where it has that same type of wrist articulation as V. It's really giving me trouble. One thing I forget to mention is the articulation on the left arm is different. There is no bicep swivel. The shoulders are pretty much the same, but there is a single swivel here at the arm. As you can see, there's a single joint bend, which isn't the greatest, but it gets 90 degrees. This little pitchfork thing, whatever this is, that gets in the way sometimes. There are also some tubes here, some wiring basically, that does get in the way of articulation. And if you move it around, it might break, but there's a swivel there. As you can see, I think I already mentioned that. There's also a swivel at the forearm, and then the wrists are the same as the other side. When we look inside here, there's not sculpted details on the inside here. I'm trying really hard to look at it, but basically they kind of saved on the sculpting by giving this a rubber piece to allow for better articulation. So the forward is really good. I'm not doing a good job right now. The back is awesome. It allows for side to side, swiveling. It's just a really nice system that they have going on here. Now I'm going to have to fix that. It's not super hard to fix. So the legs, they actually work better because this is also a soft piece here. They work better than the V figures. These might break eventually though. Kind of like with some NECA adjacent figures. The back's really good. In and out. Upper thigh swivel's a little bit better on this guy than V, but still not great. Double jointed knees. We sort of get a swivel. I don't think there's this calf swivel like with V. There could be, but it's mostly ankle rocker. It's really hard to move because the cuffs do get in the way and hinder the articulation. The up and down is not great, but the toe articulation is pretty good. So for size comparisons, we have a pretty good arrangement of figures to choose from. We have some McFarlane Toys stuff here. On the left, we have the Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn, and on the right, we have the Fortnite AIM or AAM figure right there. So they all scale pretty well together. Next, we have some NECA figures. On the left, we have the Terminator Dark Fate T800 figure, and on the right, we have the Walmart exclusive TMNT 90s movie Casey Jones. And then on the left, we have the Fugitive Predator. I believe that's the Lab Escape version, so that's pretty tall. And on the right, we have a bit of a smaller figure with the Mafex John Wick. And just doing a quick comparison with the Mafex and, Cyberpunk 2077 Keanu's. I mean, the Mafex one isn't horrible, but I still think that McFarlane Toys honestly did a little bit of a better job. And then for some other 6-inch figures, on the left we have the Marvel Legends Daredevil. On the right we have the more 6-inch Call of Duty figures right there. That's from Modern Warfare. That is Ghost. So to end this review, I'm going to show you what these figures look like with some of their accessories as well as some other accessories. Because if you own any NECA figures, they scale pretty well with these guys, and those accessories will scale pretty well with these figures. I wish that these guys came with a few more accessories, like some additional guns and some alternate hands, but I think it's going to be okay. I can manage with the stuff from NECA. These figures are really, really awesome. I'm having a blast with these. I've had these for over 6 months, and they haven't gotten me bored at all, to be quite honest. I've had other figures, of course, since then, but these are just really solid figures. My personal bias with the game, me being excited for it aside, these are just very top-notch figures from McFarlane Toys. They could be better in a few aspects, like in the articulation. Definitely in the legs could be a little bit better. Some areas of the sculpt do seem a little bit soft, like some of the shirts, mostly for V. His head sculpt's a little iffy, but other than that, these are just really solid figures. They do come with a pretty good amount of accessories. Articulation's pretty good, and the detail in paint is just fantastic on these guys. If you're looking for these figures, I would recommend maybe going to a local Walmart. They're pretty stocked at a bunch of Walmarts I've been to. Don't go to GameStop, honestly. They're pretty expensive there. They'll charge you like $30 there. These are $25 figures. They'll be $25 at Walmart. I haven't seen them at Targets yet. But one place you can also check is Amazon. They're pretty cheap on Amazon, which is surprising. I paid the full $25 when I got these, so I don't really regret that too much. But if you want to save a little bit of money, see if they're available on Amazon for about $20, maybe a little less, because these figures I think are definitely worth it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figures, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. More reviews are going to be coming soon, and I will see you guys later.